Guru Kripa Keval. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki. Okay, Shraddha.
Namaste, Ananta-ji. Namaste, Sangha. I just needed to step forward and thank you.
Thank you.
Our satsangs have had such a tremendous impact. And a couple of years ago, I had an exchange with Guruji where he said somehow at the end of our time together, he said, it's important to say things out loud, as you will see. It was sort of a cryptic ending. He said, as you will see. So I really just felt that this was a time for that. And your pointings are just so clear, Anantaji, and they just resonate. There's just been such clarity. It continues to grow and grow and grow. And I just wanted to say thank you and step forward.
So welcome. So welcome. Very good. Very
Thank you.
Any report or doubt or something else you like to share?
Yeah, I was really struck. It was you say the same thing every satsang in its own way. Well, of course you do, but in terms of what to bring forward, if there's anything, the difference between something arising is no problem. The question is the belief, and if there is something that snags you, that's what to bring forward. And um, there's been a long history here of that is almost gone, but there's like a little grain of sand still left, like a sand in an oyster that could turn into a pearl or something. It's still irritating. A lot of background in terms of attention on body image and eating disorder, and for decades, really, that was a huge pull in terms of identity. And it's still there sometimes, this sense that something needs to change in terms of identification with the body, even though it's seen like it's like nothing. But it still grabs, and there can still be um, obsession around that, and it's more and more seen that it's totally empty. There's nothing to it.
Yes.
But that's probably something still to just bring forward. That
So what is
there's
the thought?
something. The
What
thought
is the
is
thought?
that I'm not that I'm not okay as I am. Like something needs to change to be okay or accepted or loved or seen. And that it landed in the realm of appearance, like body appearance and comparison and stuff. But if I look underneath it, that's what it is. It's like something's not okay, so it needs to change in order to. And that really is what started my spiritual search. So I'm grateful. Something needed relief from that, but that's what it is. It's like a deficiency feeling. But I can't find it at all right now.
Yes.
I'm not speaking from it at all. It's like a memory I'm trying to
Yes. Yes.
bring into our satsang
It
right now.
doesn't seem like it has a lot of power. It doesn't seem like, at the moment at least.
Mm-mm.
Yes. So if you can explore this notion of okay, you can explore this notion of okay. Like we don't have to even determine that everything is okay or it is perfect. Even that is not for us to determine. So, because otherwise it can be very confusing. At one level, um, somebody said the world is suffering. Yeah? And maybe the same one said the world is perfect as it is. So it's very zen. So,
Yeah.
so just like we don't have to determine our condition, like what is our condition, we don't have to determine the condition of the world. Because actually, where we think we determine these things, that space is very small. And something little changes in the world, and we feel like, oh, the world is perfect. You could be complaining and saying, oh no, I want to leave this world. It's so horrible, terrible. Then your perfect partner comes along and he or she says, I love you so much. And you feel like the world is perfect. It's so great. I'm going to, just dance on the clouds or something like that. So just with this tiny movements, if we can change our perspective about the world so much, then we can see that the tool that we are using is very limited to make this determination. It cannot get the broadness of life, it cannot capture the immensity of life and make a rational, deterministic perspective on what actually is. So, and then our body mind, the functioning of this body mind that we call our body mind, also is part of this new world that we can't really determine. Now, the lack of this ability to so the lack of the ability to make this deterministic sort of conclusion about the state of the world or of myself may initially make us feel like, but then I'm lost. I don't know what to do. What is my next move? You see? And in fact, the mind peddles these narratives so that we are able to make these conclusions, and then it can sell you the story of doership. You see? And either way, if you say, no, no, this is what's wrong with me, so then it will tell you the story of how to fix that. You see? Maybe you need to do this, maybe you need to do that. You see? Or even if you conclude that it is perfect, I am perfect right now, and the world is perfect right now, it will then tell you a story of how to keep it that way. What should not change? No, it should just, this is perfect. You see? And some of you become like that after a satsang sometimes. Just feel like, today I completely understood what Father is saying. Brahman, then manifestation, then me playing as individualized consciousness or something like that. Say, now don't talk to me, disturb me, because I've got it perfect right now, don't confuse me. You see? So in that perfection, we sort of create an aversion. You see, it's the absence of openness actually. So an aversion is actually the absence of openness. So either conclusion that we make, either that it is not perfect, then we feel like, okay, something has to be done. Or if it is so perfect, then it has to be protected and maintained and, these kind of things. So both have to be drawn. So all opposites actually. So let's see if we can take this a bit deeper then. You see, the opposites exist in our intellect. In the realm of perception, it is not like that. See, there is no such opposite. There is no up or down. There is no left or right. There is no good or bad. There is nothing like that in perception itself. These are the deterministic values that we place on the mind proposes on what we perceive, and sometimes without even having to perceive. So, to become empty of these, to come to the unborn is to become empty of these. To become open and empty is to not rely on these sort of conclusions. And then what happens? And when this question is asked, you don't have to think about it. You can't think about it actually. You should just try it out for yourself. So in this moment, when you are empty of the play of opposites, what is happening? What is that of value that you have lost?
Nothing. Nothing's lost. There's a voice that I'm familiar with now that it kind of runs around inside this vast space saying, "But what do I do? But what do I do?" But there's no belief going there anymore. It's like this, like a closed system that's just going around like this that doesn't really mean anything anymore. But
Yeah.
that voice sometimes still arises. In this moment, I can hear something like, "What do I do?" But there's nothing.
So to come to satsang is not to be able to say that I have come to some perfection. or I have finally understood. Because these are still conceptual. What is your condition right now? Is it? And what perception will you use to conclude that? To determine your condition is like saying that I am able to determine the condition of the universe. And yet we are constantly doing this. There's some little activity thing will come. You see, something will shake little bit. You see, in that vastness which is beyond space and time. You see, that is aware of this perception. And yet the mind will offer a proposal saying, but you are not happy, or you are suffering, or this must go. And in that proposal is inherently selling an idea of a limited me, which is so small that it is affected by these tiny movements. And then we buy, consciousness plays the game of buying into that idea. And in buying into that idea that something is wrong, it is bought into the false idea of what we are. And even when you buy into the idea that something is perfect, we buy into the false idea of who we are. The one that has to maintain it or keep it this way or not. So it is really about what we are taking ourselves to be. The rest must depend on that. If something is really big, then it depends on what you are, isn't it? So if you're a mouse, then what is really big could be a small, like, crevice in the wall, isn't it? But if you're an elephant, that really big would be something much, much bigger. See, like a huge cave or something. So where something is really big or really small for you must depend on what your reality is, who you are. So when we say, for example, I hear very often that this really big emotion came or strong emotion came. See, but big for whom? Or do we take ourselves to be in that? This really strong anger came. This really strong grief came. So is this really big or really small? Indeterminable, isn't it? For what you are, all these things are not applicable actually. And because right now you're looking at it that way, you're able to see like that. Okay, if this perception came inside your head after you close your eyes, then is it really big or really small? Be honest. A really big head came inside my, a really big hand came inside my head. Huh? So when these proposals come from the mind, then we sometimes end up believing that narrative, which includes an identification about ourselves, which is very limiting. Now, how many of you are okay with not being able to determine your condition and the condition of the world?
Increasingly.
Yes? Promise?
More and more, yeah.
Everybody's raising their hand. Very. Two hands even. Okay. Okay. So nobody is stuck then. Nobody is stuck. Nobody is almost there. Huh? Nobody just at the edge of the cliff, waiting to be thrown down. Somebody has to push me into the final awareness or something. Nobody has that condition, yes, because you cannot determine that about yourself. Yeah? Nobody is enlightened. Yeah? Nobody is bound. Nobody is seeking anything. Because all these are determinations of your condition. So nobody has any of this. Okay, you see how satsang goes.
Isn't that one of the deals, Anantaji, that it's the guru's problem, right? Progress.
Yeah, I have forgotten all the names. That sounds like a nice one. That sounds like a nice one to have. Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
Okay, one question just gets my attention on the chat before we go to the next one. So one says, Pranam Anantaji, this is my first ever satsang. Can you tell us what Nisargadatta Maharaj meant when he said that the absolute Parabrahma is beyond I amness, and the absolute does not even know that it exists, that the real self is prior to I amness? What does it mean to transcend even I amness? What happens to I amness or beingness in sleep? Very good, very good. Also, how can we see for ourselves that our real self has no death or birth? Thank you. Very good, very good. It's quite a smashing first question to ask. You're very welcome. If you like to come up, you can raise your hand on Zoom and then speak as well. But let's look at this. So let's really make this a workshop instead of just something theoretical, because I can try and tell you what he meant, and then I can try and tell you what I mean, all of these things. Instead of that, let's just see for ourselves and see if it is not obvious. So the first question you can use is, can I stop being? Just try to stop being. Being. Don't be. Like little children, innocently. I know you all know the answer. Okay? But still try. So don't be. What happens? You can't stop being. Conceptually, you can. You say, okay, it happened in sleep, it happened in death. But that's not what I'm talking about. Right now, don't be. Not theoretically or conceptually. Just like that. Just right here. You can't do that. And you notice that there's a presence. The presence of your being becomes apparent when you try not to be. So this presence is the presence of your being. This is beingness, let's call it beingness for the moment. Now, notice this qualitative sense of being, this consciousness. So just notice it. Don't try to deepen it. Don't try to do anything with it. Just notice. Now that which is aware of this being, are you aware now? Are you aware now? That you that is aware is independent even of the sense of being. And therefore there is a qualitative distinction, not a real distinction, but a qualitative distinction between even being and awareness. You see, because that awareness does not even have the quality of presence. It is aware of being, but the being is not aware of awareness. So this is beyond I am. This is beyond sleep state, waking state, dream state. This is you. You say, I just woke up in the morning. I just woke up. You see? So you are there to see the contrast, not see with sight, but see beyond sight. But see the contrast between the absence of being and the awakening of being. I am. I just woke up. You see? But you are there to be able to say, I just woke up. See, there was an absence before this, and there is a presence now. So for you, the ultimate reality, the absolute Parabrahman, even the being is a coming and going. Even consciousness comes and goes for your reality. So notice the distinction between these two questions. Can I stop being? And am I aware now? And don't give these questions to the intellect. Because the intellect will make it all crazy and will say, but doesn't awareness just to be aware, isn't it to be aware? Isn't it awareness being? Don't have to conclude all this nonsense. Because this is not an intellectual exercise. Just notice for yourself, with your heart, with your intuition. You're not going to get stuck in words. Notice that the sense of presence is a coming and going, and there's an awareness which is untouched by the coming and going, even of the sense of being, the sense of presence. And how do you notice that? Only intuitively. You cannot notice that with your attention. So are you aware now? It's a very, very potent pointer. Because in your heart, you can't deny it. Your head will complain. But which eye is aware? It's you, that one. That one that your heart recognizes, that your intuition recognizes, but your mind cannot fathom. And the game of spirituality is not to make that which your heart recognizes, it is not to make that something which your head will understand. Until we stop playing that game, then we will continue to play the game of being a seeker.
That particular one, I'll share some experience, not recent. But a couple of weeks back, I had to go through some small surgery.
You had to go for a surgery.
Yeah. And I was much excited about going in anesthesia and the surgery. So I went through amputator and that he's going to put the mask. I know it's coming. Right? 1, 2, she started counting.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and go.
Oh.
And maybe a couple of hours or so, outside they said, it's done, wake up. When I wake up, first few seconds I try to go back. Where was I? I was like trying to be and trying to be aware of it. A few seconds here and there, and then I'm okay. But that 1 hour, again, the same similar question. Where was the being? Where was awareness?
Yeah.
I don't know where was the awareness or where was the being. But still, everything came back.
Yeah. Presumably. Like in the sense that we can presume that we ended up where we started from. Okay, we've taken this example before. Maybe the both of us have also spoken about this. But when your dream starts, does it seem like I've just landed up in the middle of nowhere? No, if the dream starts and you're walking, and somebody comes and asks you, where are you coming from? Say, I'm coming from home. Oh, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to that place. You don't start a dream with amnesia. Usually, I mean, you could, but usually it's not your experience that it's just like somebody asks you your name and say, no, I don't know yet. My dream has just started. Give me some time. You're responding to the to people who are showing up in your dream saying, hey, yeah, I'm this one. You see, this is where I'm coming from. This is where I'm born. This is where I was born. In the same way, we can't really say anything about once the experience just starts. Like right now, I could say, okay, what did you hear 5 minutes ago? You say, oh, you were talking about, are you aware now, or can you stop being? But can you really say that? You can't say it undoubtedly. You see? Just like a dream could have started with you sitting here, like with us having this conversation, and you could wake up right now and you could be telling your wife, yeah, I had this strange dream with Ananta-ji, and he was talking about dreams, So it could happen, isn't it? You could wake up just now and then you could be telling her, hey, wow, that was freaky, It's just like, isn't it? So, so now, is that a dream that you're having, or is this a dream that you're having? We can't say, and we cannot say what memory is bringing to us. Does it stand up to any test of validity or truth? So the past, so the masters have said, Papaji said, past is a graveyard. Forget about it. But even if you validate, how can we really say that this undoubtedly happened? So truth is coming to that which is undoubtedly true. What is undoubtedly true? So is there a truth which is beyond the instrument of doubting? Is the instrument of doubt, try to doubt something. Where do you have to go? You have to go to your head. You have to go to your head. Try to believe in something. The opposite of doubt. Where do you have to go? Same place? So leave that place of belief and doubt. Now what is the truth which is apparent to you? This is all that satsang is, actually. And I'll say it 10 different times for 10 different things. But for the moment, this is all that satsang is. When you leave the instrument which has the potential to believe or doubt, then what do you recognize about yourself? We'll come to the world and states later. But what do you recognize about yourself? Have you vanished? Haven't vanished. Then what is your shape?
Instantly mind comes back so much. What should I do with that?
Don't bother with what the mind come back with. If you hear something you've never heard before from your mind, then okay, expose it. Otherwise, if it's the same old stuff, don't bother. Don't bother, we know. Without the instrument of belief and doubt, what is your recognition about yourself? And don't bother with anything that you're perceiving. Don't judge or label any of that. Because the mind will play up, especially in such something. What is your recognition about yourself? Are you or aren't you? Let's start with that. You are. Now you are what? Body? Is there something now that makes this set of perceptions more me than that set of perceptions? Are you able to follow?
Which is that?
Huh?
Which is that?
Huh?
That? That's the perception.
That which apparently are here, and this that apparently are here. Is there anything that makes this more me than that? Or the perception even of space? Is that less me? Can you find a location for yourself? Can you find a grievance about yourself, about the world? Can you live like this? Is there a problem living like this? Who can't live like this? Who can't live like this? You? Huh?
Definitely, like if I'm simple stuff like walking, thinking, still like that.
Yeah. Working, yeah, thinking, of course. You can't, but working cannot happen like this.
Yeah, but it doesn't always happen. Yeah. I mean, you have to put some effort.
Yeah. That effort is okay. That effort is all right. As long as it feels like effort, to let go of effort, we can make the effort. Spoken about this. Like actually, it is effort to live in that way mentally. You see, actually, it is like mental slavery, mental oppression. So, satsang is really about coming to the end of mental slavery, mental oppression, and that it is that mental oppression which is exhausting, tiring. That is the suffering of the human condition. It is this mental oppression which is the effort. But for a while, because we get used to, like a prisoner who's just been let out of prison after serving the sentence, for the first few weeks, they don't know what to do, how to behave, all the rules are gone. It's just too free. Yeah, it's just too free. A prisoner feels too free. Where are the systems? Where are the lines? Where are the processes? You see? Where are the ones with the sticks? Just like that, living without your head for a while will seem too free. Yeah, so you just feel like I need to go back to prison because it's familiar. And to not go back to prison can feel like effort for a while. Just feel like effort for a while. Make the effort. But what do you notice when you drop the mind? Is there any problem in your existence? Is there any vital functioning that is stopped? Because the mind will be fearmonger and say you can't take care of your family like this and run your business like this, but you have to try it. Be headless for a day, half a day, something. Try it out before just going to the mind and saying, no, but the real world, in the real world, you see? So if that is the real world, what are we doing? Satsang is supposed to be real. So this is all okay for satsang, but what about the real world? So if that is the real world, then what are we doing here? Learning about the unreal. Huh? Is that it? So don't let these words, real world, practical life, you see, relatively speaking, we use these kind of things to just make categories in our mind. And that becomes a defense for the mind itself. Oh, ultimately speaking, you're right. No? How many of you have told me like this? Ultimately speaking, you're right on it. But actually, let's get real for a moment. So you're still making the relative real. If only the real is real, why bother with the relative? Because we still think it is real. We still take it to be real. So this just becomes an excuse to dwell in the false. All levels of false are false or no? And the truth doesn't have any levels. So this is like an opposition to surrender. Actually, you may not have looked at it this way, but the construction of this duality of relative and ultimate and relative truth and absolute truth, all of this becomes a defense against surrender. You feel like practical life, I have to run. You see, the rest of my life, spiritual life, God will. Nonsense. God can't run practical. Obviously, God can't send an email. God can only shine some chakra. Is it like so it's placing a limit on what God can do or is interested in doing. You see? And the irony of all of this is that our human mind doesn't know how to move a finger. We've taken this example so many times. Conceptual mind doesn't know how to move a finger. Can you move a finger with your mind? Yeah. Like that. And then say, okay, how did you do it? With my brain, apparently. And then how do you move your brain? Can you access your brain? So what do you have to do? Activate some neurons in your brain. Can you do it? One neuron can you activate through your head mentally? Don't know how to activate. Then who activates it? Same one that's beating your heart. There's a BBC program that before the thought even arises, actually nerves are getting activated a few seconds before that. It is on horizon. So which intelligence is doing that? So don't make these excuses for the lack of full surrender. Just dive in fully. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What? Yeah, that's adventure. No? That's real adventure. If you knew every scene of this movie in advance, what fun would it be? I take this example often, isn't it? That because we are so scared of life, that's why astrology is popular. Otherwise, if astrology was called spoilers, yeah, no. Actually, astrology is spoilers. But you don't want spoilers for a movie because you're not scared of a movie. You don't tell me I haven't seen it yet. If your friend comes and tells you, oh, this happened to Batman in the end, you're like, shut up, I haven't seen it. You see, why is that spoiling an astrology popular? See, because there's fear. We're scared to meet what will show up. So we want reassurance that nothing will hurt us. It'll all be fine. Or even if the astrologer says, oh, next 7 years is very popular. 7.5 years, you're going to have a mess. Okay, at least I know now. I'll be prepared for it. Brace for impact. Some sort of seeming antidote to this fear. But what can be heard here? What can be heard? What you discover about yourself, even in the first satsang, can that be affected or hurt by anything that shows up in life? What can shake up your being? Emotions may get shaky. Your thoughts may pretend like, oh, something's very shaky. With your being, what can happen to you? Your body may be trembling with fear, but what's happening to your being? Nothing. It's as futile as trying to cut this space. And that which is aware even of this being, forget about it. No chance. Not in time and space, not in this universe. You realize what you're discovering in Satsang, that you are not in this universe. What are you taking yourself to be? If there's a relationship of containing, it is you that contains the universe, not the other way around. Find the location of this awareness. Everything in this universe should have some coordinates. No? Should have a location to exist in the universe. Where do you exist? Find right now. Find your location. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you looking at all these perceptions from? Where are you sitting, standing, whatever? Is it a state that you're coming to in this with this question? Not a state. I'm just asking naturally, where are you? So if your location is not in this universe, what in this universe can hurt you? And through what means? And don't believe anything I'm saying. Check for yourself.
So that question of what can hurt you or what bad can happen. So I was stuck in quarantine in one room for 10 odd days. And clearly I was safe. Nothing could happen. Nobody was troubling me. There was food. But then there's this boredom where actually nothing is happening.
Yes.
So the nothing is that kind of
Yes.
So I'm
Yes. So I want to talk about that. There's another experiment like this where this person is taken into a room where there is no stimulus, all white walls, no window, nothing. And next to that one, there's a buzzer. So what happens is that this one is said, okay, you'll be kept here for some time, but you let us know when you can't take it anymore, you have to come out. You're right. So what happens first is, after a while, of course, there's curiosity. So you press the buzzer. When you press the buzzer, you get a proper shock. It hurts. It hurts. Oh, not doing that again. See? So then you're sitting. After a while, the mind gets so irritated, you see, with the absence of fresh experience, that most people, they actually press the buzzer the second time, third time, fourth time. Can you imagine? Knowing fully well it will hurt you. See? Because to the mind, the absence of new experiencing is the worst. And we talked about this the other day, where we were saying that this notion of boredom is such fertile territory for crazy stuff. Drug abuse, all kinds of things starts with many times just like, I need some other experience. I'm too bored. What can I do? Just like that. Now, what is the antidote to that? The antidote to that is just meeting yourself. As you meet your being, do you ever feel a lack with your being? It's only when the identification of yourself as body-mind is functioning that you feel like you are not enough for yourself and you need some stimulus, some experience, something to make yourself bigger. You see, what is the craving for experience about? You see, this container seems too limiting, and it's not a container anyway, but the apparent container seems too limiting. So, and something doesn't like that. Even the mind doesn't like that. So it wants to make itself bigger. The mind's project is what? To make itself God in a phenomenal way. So what can I have? How much money can I have? What relationships can I have? What materialistic object can I have? So I can become God-like. You see, if not God itself. So that is the project. You see. So without stimulus or experience, it finds itself helpless. It doesn't find itself able to do that. It's just like something. Okay. Notice that. It's almost like withdrawal symptoms. And yet, what is the sadhu saying? Look, take me out of my cave. Don't take me out of it. Why do people go to caves? To have this absence of phenomenal experience.
So I guess the reason I brought that up is until I did those 10 days there, if I didn't have that experience, I wouldn't have known about the problem.
Yes.
So in some ways, it was a good thing.
Very much, very much. To see this is great. In fact, a lot of people have said, philosophers have said, you see, that the ability to just be with yourself, and they were speaking in a worldly way, not even capital S self. The ability to be with yourself is a great, great power in the human condition. I think even Buffett has said something like that. When he's talking about not getting involved with fear and greed. Didn't think you were going to hear about Buffett in Satsang. Let's see what else is here. Okay, Edgar can come.
Oh, hello.
Edgar.
Good morning, Ananta-ji. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Pues no digas nada, estoy con el micro prendido ya. Hello. So, yes, I've not been coming too often to Satsang, which is not that good of a thing. Lately, I've been going through certain hidden emotions, like I've been feeling them. It's very uncomfortable. And sometimes I just wanted to go away, which is like resistance,
Yes.
and then I get frustrated at just maybe not being capable of following the pointings that you give, because like in almost every satsang, as someone else said, like the essence of the pointers is pretty much similar every satsang.
Yeah.
But the way you say it like resonates with our particular mind or whatnot, and that is what we can get out of satsang every Friday. But maybe when I'm on my own, I'm not that capable of self. I don't know. So let's be calm. Just to be calm. And I don't know what you can say about that. Oh, like some repetitive thought that I've been having or situation is that, I've been seeking for external approval from people, from situations, and at the core of it, well, this is an interpretation of the mind, like, but I want like to be as open as possible with people, as vulnerable as possible with people, like spontaneous, that type of uh, vulnerable or open, in the sense of being spontaneous and that thing, because I feel like that's what my personality is about, but I'm not, like, I'm afraid to totally be open and that stuff. So
Yeah.
that is what frustrates me, because it's not always the case that I can be very open with people. Like my mind is in the back saying, don't do this, don't do that. Yeah, so that is what is happening.
So just be open. There's a difference between when I say open and empty, and when we usually say in the world open with people or vulnerable. You see, all those may be byproducts. When we are open and empty, then we may become very social, open with people, or become completely asocial and want to go in a cave. Like we cannot predict these things. So when I'm speaking of open and empty, I'm not talking about relationship with people and how you engage with people. See? Like many sages, completely open and empty, but with people they're like, shut up, go get out. Isn't it? Nisargadatta Maharaj is famous for throwing people out of his house. Is that being open with people? This is very close. Yeah. How long have you been here? Oh, 3 months, Maharaj. Oh, you're not getting anything. Get out. You're just taking up space. Like that. That's not being open with people. You see? They're just being open. You're getting the distinction? So it's not about how you're behaving and acting up with people, whether you're just like, I want to hug you and I feel so much love for you and you can hurt me, I'm open. It's not. It could manifest like that. I'm not saying that it cannot happen that way. I'm just saying, but it's not a prerequisite. See? In fact, for many, it can feel like when you become open and empty, you just want to retire to your room or something, and your family feels like, are you depressed? My family told me a lot. Guruji's also shared this story. Everyone hears this like, are you depressed? Even Sangha, so many of you heard this. You're just so happy and joyful just with yourself. Like just continuing on the topic, actually, just being with yourself for a while. And your family says, are you depressed? Is there something wrong with you? Of course, they don't mean any harm. They care for you. So it's not about how you engage with people, about how you engage with the world. Just become fully open and empty in your mental layer. Just keep your mental layer fully open and empty. Let everything come and go. So that is different. Then what happens is that all these apparent uh, seeming problems at a worldly level or a human level, you attack them at the root itself. Because all problems are egoic problems. So rather than, like Guruji says, cutting one branch and then next branch and the next branch, the next branch, by the time you get to the 10th one, the first one has grown back again. See? So it's an endless treadmill to try and fix and sort the human condition. Instead of that, get to the root of all of this trouble. You see, and what is the root of all of this trouble? The notion of somethingness in I am something. Till I am, till you're being, no problem. When we attach the notion of somethingness, that is the root of all trouble. See? You have to be something other than just I am to trouble yourself, to suffer. So, what problem do you want to solve? Do you want to attack the problem at the root itself? And if the problem is suffering, then ego equals suffering. Ego is resistance and resistance is suffering. Okay? One said to Bhagwan, how am I with others once I am free? Or how should I be with others? And Bhagwan was like, what others? There are no others. So where are you making a boundary around yourself? So just empty yourself. Empty yourself of all this. Empty yourself of all conditions. Now what are you? Now what
What you're saying is kind of bad news to the mind.
Yes, yes.
Something different.
Super bad news to the mind, because the mind is a constant problem creator and solver. It creates non-existent problems and spends our whole life solving them. See? And that is called suffering. What is suffering? Solving non-existent problems. So are we going to cater to, if it is bad news for the mind, is it bad news for us? Depends on what we take our relationship with the mind to be.
I still feel like it's bad news for me as well. So
Yes, yes. Okay, good. So when you say it's bad news for the mind and it's bad news for me, what is the difference between mind and you?
I don't know.
You are aware of the mind, or is the mind aware of you?
I am aware of the mind.
Yes. So that you that is aware of the mind, you see, what is happening to it? What is the bad news for it?
No bad news.
It's not bad news for that one which is aware of the mind. Then, if you are not the mind, is there a third one also? Like there's a mind that is you, there is you that is aware of the mind. And is there another one also for which it is bad news?
Another one? No. Another one? No.
Who is the one that it was bad news for?
Sorry.
Who is the one for which this was bad news? One was the mind, and the second was the me. Now, who is this me?
I feel like saying that it is the mind itself.
The mind itself. Or it is the conjuring of the mind itself.
Yes.
What about
because a moment ago, like I said, it's a problem for the mind. Then I said I feel like it's a problem to me as well, but that was just another thought, which was like full with emotion as well, but it was thought anyway.
Yeah. So what do we have to fix now?
This understanding to stay.
Understanding. What is the meaning of understanding? Many of you say that. When will I fully understand? What do we mean by that? Are we talking about fully believe, like fully be convinced? What do we mean by understanding? Huh? Knowing in the heart is always fully. No? Know in the heart halfly.
That's still not the statement we take.
Huh?
That's still not the statement we take.
Yes, but what do we take to be understanding? We talk about a spiritual conviction. See? A spiritual conviction or some real belief in the idea of what is being heard in satsang. It's not that.
Here it's like itself of the thought. I don't understand enough
Hmm.
because just one got identified.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't have a full understanding.
Correct.
Something
So then it keeps everything about itself. It's like that pesky relative that makes everything about themselves. Something could have happened in Timbuktu, but this one will say, "Oh, but 5 years ago I had this thought at Timbuktu, something going to happen." You see, like this, everything becomes about themselves. So the mind is like that. It's like, "Oh, see now, he said don't listen to the mind, but you are still listening to the mind." It's like that is the mind itself going like that. You see, it pretends to be a spiritual advisor, guide, all of this stuff. But just like, as long as it is in charge, it is happy. It's happy to play all roles, worldly, spiritual, materialistic, everywhere. The mind is happy to play as long as you are holding its hand. It's happy.
Then I think next, other than putting thoughts, mind will sleep. Something like that is the next step of mind.
Are you talking about present circumstances?
Maybe, yeah. I was thinking. No, but is there anything beyond just putting thoughts? It can also
It's just a bundle of thoughts. Just one. Now, दूर से ही ask some very intellectual questions. Ah, just become. What is there to ask in open end? Become open in it. You know what it means? What I'm saying? We've talked about. Allow everything to come. Empty means don't allow anything to stay. That's it.
You want to get out of it.
You see? Now, when you're not open and empty, there is such a you. When you are open and empty, show me such a you that is stuck. This is the whole switch. Close means to identify. Edgar, what else?
Yeah, I got a lot.
Good.
I've got a lot. Like, I'm sorry.
What is the last thing you said?
I'm sorry. Like, I've got a lot to say.
Please do. Don't worry.
Yeah, yes. So the thoughts, like you're saying, like you don't expect any external outcome when going through certain situations. Yeah, so you right now have made made it clear what's the difference. This is too much thought. Like, I just the feeling of being clear. Just the feeling of being clear is
Yeah.
not always here. So
Yeah. Okay, but
when
look into when you say feeling of being clear, are you talking about a thought is not troubling you? Is that clarity?
no, that is not the clarity I'm talking about.
Okay, because mostly when we say I was very clear, then my girlfriend came and told me this, then it became all crazy. You see, all my clarity went like that. You see, but that is like a mental clarity. Means thought was not oppressing us for a bit. It seemed to be settled. You see, and then something came and you see. So that is not the clarity or certainty that we are talking about. You see. Now, what other clarity is there? Can your intuition be unclear or blurry?
But can I substitute with intuition or with awareness or like with existence?
Kind of. Yeah, for now it's okay. It's okay, kind of. What else can be blurry besides the mind?
The me. the me,
check.
or the illusion of clarity for the me.
Let me.
Like the illusion of clarity for the me. That was what I said. Because I sometimes, as a me, I seek intellectual clarity.
Intellectual, mental is same thing. Intellectual
Yes.
or mental clarity is the same thing.
Mhm. Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So forget about it. Nobody can keep their mind clear, okay? Nobody can. Forget about it. You said this often. She's like, anytime you feel like first time I'm hearing this. Actually, I've said this so often. It's like a leaky roof. You fix one side, the other side starts leaking. You fix that side, this side. No chance.
Going to the pool.
Huh?
Don't go into the pool.
Don't go into any such thing. We are also joking about the one with mental clarity, no, today? Saying, don't talk to me right now because I'm fully clear. Yeah? Just like that. In fact, someone reported very sweetly one time, they were so clear in working, then somebody, their partner or something, told them something, and then they became so unclear.
And if I can say this, like I feel like this is that is here right now. It won't stay.
Forget about peace.
Okay.
It's not your problem. Who is chasing peace? Is awareness chasing peace? Is awareness chasing peace? Is your being chasing peace? Even manifest consciousness, is it chasing peace? Who's peace serving? Who is the master of peace? Hmm? Who created it? Like wished it, is it?
I mean, it appears
Willed it,
not
maybe.
mind peace.
Huh.
So it's not that sort of-
Yes, but in reality, who is peace serving? Can a thought actually feel peace? If it was a thought, then the thought is coming, okay, make it peaceful. Make a thought peaceful. Can you do it? Can't do it. So who is peace here for? For your being. Who is love here for? For your being. Who is joy here for? For your being. But by the way, who is anger here for? Same one. The same one is tasting all the flavors, no? Salt and sugar. Now, the mind's idea is that it's doing it wrong. The quantity is wrong, the proportions are wrong. I should have more peace, less grief. The director is messing up this movie. That is the mind's idea. That is just not true. So it's not your problem. At least not your problem as Edgar. It's your problem as consciousness. And consciousness has no problem. Okay, suppose Edgar and Ananta, both of us decided we should both have a lot more peace. How would we create it? How many kgs sugar, rice, what we have to get? It's not for uh, the false one, for the unreal one to create something like that. Who can provide it? If peace has to be provided, love has to be provided, joy has to be provided, who can provide it?
I don't know. No one.
Only the being, only God. If you believe the notion of more or less and providing and not providing, then we have to give the power over to where it belongs, which is consciousness. Don't try to fix the mind. Don't try to convince the mind or fix it or to make it clear. You just let it be. The top floor of everybody's house has noisy neighbors. That's it. Accept it and move on. You understand what I'm saying? The top floor of everybody's house has
Yes.
people. Just accept it and move on. Don't try to reform them. Don't try to change them. Don't try to call the cops on them. Nothing will happen.
You spoke about anger. Are you telling that even if that comes in, you don't have to worry about it? Or
Of
like,
course.
What is the narrative? Like,
Of
I'm
course.
getting the construct.
Yes. Because if anger comes and you start worrying about it, it becomes hate. It becomes resentment. See, anger, otherwise just anger. Go. Guruji says, if I get irritated with someone, I want them to come really fast because in 2 minutes it's gone. Okay. Huh? It just goes. There's no holding on. There's no resentment. No? There's no hatred. Like, where is this one? No? Like that. It's like in 2 minutes, oh, it's fine.
Aren't we told that you're not supposed to get angry?
We are told a lot of rubbish. What to do with all that we are told if you start believing?
Be good to people, be kind to yourself and others, and don't get angry and all that, right?
And then what's happened to the world after so many thousands of years of these teachings?
It's like a shake because I've been telling myself, like feeling myself that sometimes you get angry for whatever reason, right? And getting angry itself is another problem.
By the way, I'm not saying get angry.
How do you
Okay, who produces it? So this pointing is for whom? Get angry or don't get angry. Who produces it?
question?
No, the anger.
Anger itself,
Yeah.
right?
The Hulk.
Yep. Yes. Hulk is angry. Yeah. Right.
So who produces it?
The mind.
The mind, yeah.
Well,
Comes from
it's in consciousness. Sometimes if you take the definition of the mind to be, because these are confusing topics because the definitions are all changing, right? So if the definition of the mind is a bundle of thoughts, see? And you walk into a room and somebody's slapping your child. See? Before a thought comes, anger would come.
Yeah.
Same way you walk into a room and a lion is waiting for you. Before a thought comes, fear can come.
Yes.
So who produces it? It's not the thought. You see, but you need a thought to make resentment out of anger.
A story about
You need a thought to make guilt out of anger. Like you get angry, how will you make guilt out of anger? Do it without a thought. You can't do it. So that's why I differentiate grade A and grade B emotions provisionally. Because some are just raw and they appear and they don't need a thought. But pride, regret, guilt, resentment, all these things are grade B emotions where you have to work on them. You have to think about them and say, oh, should not have done this. Oh, I'm so good. I'm too cool. Pride. Or I'm so unworthy. I will never understand what he's saying. I'll never get freedom. You have to think about this.
Is that a leaf that you were talking about?
Yeah.
It's the door.
Exactly.
But anger can come from a thought as well.
True.
I'm angry now because Colin left me.
No, he's listening very well.
So it's a practical example.
Yeah.
If I said to him to she takes Satsang.
Okay. Can you guarantee that if the thought comes that, oh, Kalin left, that anger will come? Maybe I'm waiting for him.
I'm angry when he's not following my instructions.
Huh?
I get angry when he's not
Yeah.
following my instructions.
See? Now, this is what happens in the mind's play of cause and effect. You heard the story in the Yoga Vashisht. The bird is flying, it lands on the branch of the coconut tree, coconut falls. What does the mind say? Because the bird landed on the branch, that's why coconut fell. But can you determine that?
No.
Huh? The other thing also happened, where a child feels scared. No? Child is feeling scared. The father goes to the child and says, "Why are you feeling scared?" He feels like there must be something in the cupboard. That's why I'm scared. So father opened the cupboard, nothing in the cupboard. Child says, "But if there is fear, you see, there must be something in the cupboard. What is causing this fear?"
Oh.
You see? So it's not as straight line as you think. We want to rationalize. He just went to the restaurant. So, so to find this, again, we're going back to that determinism. We're trying to determine things that we can't determine. Why is the child feeling fear if there's no monster in the cupboard? So you tell me. Why is the child? This, you observe the need for rationalizing everything. You see? Everybody says there must be something. When you fall for the why question, this is what happens. When you fall for causation, this is what happens. And even a little child is saying, why am I feeling scared then?
Then we are not on someone that prevented somehow to release it somehow.
Usually, you can say, yeah.
Because it feels like something needs to be released somehow. It's good. The thoughts play like that. So somewhere where I can see it right now.
Yeah, usually it can be said like that. I won't say 100% for anything,
Yes.
but you're good, Edgar.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot.
You're thinking a
There
lot.
was
No, that is,
there were thoughts a lot.
yeah, that's okay. If there were just thoughts a lot, that's fine, as long as you were not thinking. Because thoughts means, thinking means the appearance of thoughts and your belief in them.
And my attention, what about attention?
Attention is fine.
Okay.
And when you say there were a lot of thoughts is because I already can tell it's because of attention. Like without attention, you cannot determine whether there was a thought or not.
Yeah, I would like to get to that point without attention.
No, you first just work on your belief. That's enough.
Yes, I feel better with the not believe
Yeah.
instruction.
Yes, but that instruction sometimes seems too simple. Like this can't be sadhana. Give me something like proper.
Yes,
Don't
I
believe
feel it
30
sometimes.
thoughts, then believe 5. Don't keep count in the mala like that. If you had some
I feel that. Yes, I resonate with that. Yeah, with that. Just,
sadhana work. First believe 108 thoughts. Yeah? Then don't believe 108 thoughts. Then believe like 2054. No? Like that. And you feel like, oh, I'm progressing. Just leave all that. Become headless.
yeah, can I expose one more thing?
Yes.
So I don't know if this I've been pondering on the maybe pondering is not the right word.
It's okay.
Maybe I've just been thinking, like with the belief, about the how I still hold this illusion of control, and how sometimes I see myself as just letting go of that illusion, and it's not predictable what will happen. It's never actually, but the illusion of being predictable. And then the problem comes, like you should be all the time, and you should have all the time being you should all the time let go of that illusion of control. But it is scary. Yeah,
No.
there are a lot of voices. Yeah, to be honest, there are a lot of voices.
Every thought is a thought. Every thought is a thought.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
Of course. It sounds like the most obvious thing, but it's a very potent pointer because at some level we're still making a special home for some special thoughts. And those are the spiritual ones for spiritual seekers. You see? Every thought is a thought. Don't fear. Don't fear. Nothing true can be taken away from you. The special showcase of special concepts, throw it to the floor and let it burst. Just come to full innocence, full openness. Don't start knowing too much. Because I remember you came as a small baby, actually, a small child, Satsang, 2, 3 years back. So open, so innocent. Now, this like spiritual guy is trying to take over. So let's demolish that one today. Every thought is a thought. There is no thought which is not a thought.
Yeah. Like this thought was very important, was very like that's what I hold to be true, held to be true.
Don't hold any belief to be truth. Very
Thank you.
Thank you, my love. Thank you. Okay, let's go to Georg.
Hello.
Hello, my love.
Hello. Yeah, I just wanted to come up to show myself.
Yeah.
And actually I wanted to say something, was holding on to something, but
Uh-huh.
you take all away.
Gotcha.
And yeah, now I'm
I can see that. I can see that you're quite empty. No, but now that you're on the hot seat, so to speak,
yeah.
it's just like, come on, let's come up with something.
Yes.
Just empty.
Yeah.
That's very good. Very good.
Yeah, what comes up is I was several times with Guruji and also in Monte Sahasra. And
Yeah.
one reason when I came now, also to don't miss a chance to, because I was hiding a lot in front of Guruji, was very scared.
Yeah.
And I never told him how much I love him, and I want to tell also you how much I love you.
Yes. Love you too. Yeah, thank you.
And yeah.
And Guruji loves you so immensely. So and don't feel like anything about being scared in front of Guruji. Even, have you seen my photos next to Guruji? I am standing usually like a scared little boy. It's all right. It's just some reverence or something shows up like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't make it a thing that you have to solve or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing sometimes, because I missed my chance. I really did, and I didn't show up because I was so scared in the satsang, and then I couldn't raise my hand. I didn't have helium hand. I had like very heavy hands. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can say like that provisionally that, oh, you missed your chance like this, but not really. Like grace does everything.
Yeah.
Trust the divine intelligence that is running this life.
Yeah. I really don't have much more to say.
It's good. It's good. Yeah, it's very good. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you very much.
All my love. All.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just take one question from the chat before going to the next one. This one says, Ananta Guruji, even though there is a knowing that I am not any of this, but there is a very strong sense of a personal self. This is very contradictory and very difficult. First, we'll take this part. So, if you know that I'm not any of this, like I know I'm not any of this, but I also know that this is my life, this is my wife, this is my family, also. Now, that category of knowing is not what we are speaking of in Satsang. This is very important to hear. You see, we just feel like among these two opposites, one side ultimately wins, and that is the freedom side, hopefully. You see? But that is not what Satsang is. So that knowing, you see, that I am not any of this, and that strong sense of personal self, which actually means the knowing that I am something personal. You see, when we say strong sense of personal self, we are just saying that there is a knowledge that I am something personal. Now, both this, if they both are in the same level, you see, and our idea is that one side, which is the freedom side, must win, that the self side, you see, so it's a boxing match, and the self boxer is going to actually beat up the ego boxer, and that's the end of it. You see? And that is the whole delusion of like, oh, I have to kill the ego, I have to destroy the ego. Because we feel like there's a stronger side in our heads which has to win, which is the knowledge, quote unquote, knowledge of a person, of the real self. You see, but that is not the knowledge. So if you leave that layer aside where you could know I am the absolute, or you could know that I am a limited person, if you leave both of those aside and the whole layer where all these conclusions can be drawn, then what do you know about yourself? So when I ask you, if to know even one thing was to know too much, if to know even one thing was to know too much, what do you know when you know nothing? So the question really is there a deeper knowledge which is independent of conceptual knowing? What do you know when you know nothing? This has flummoxed them for years. It's your first Satsang. What is being asked? What is being asked? It's just being asked that when you're open and empty in the head, See, you're allowing all things to, especially thoughts, to come and go, conceptually empty. Then is there a knowledge which still remains, which is not of the head? Is there another knowledge which is not of the head? Couldn't have said it like this or what earlier? Is there another knowledge which is not conceptual, theoretical, learned? And what is that knowledge telling you, showing you, telling you, not in words necessarily? Isn't yourself apparent here? Self apparent here. You see the difference in the two types of seeking? One type of seeking implies that there is a storehouse of knowledge that I've learned from all the masters and my experiences. You see, and there's the storehouse of ego. Egoic concepts and spiritual concepts. They have to get into a war, the Mahabharata has to happen, and the side of the truth has to win. See? That is not true spirituality. But that is the game most spiritual seekers are playing. What is this spirituality? We leave that headspace. Don't bother with it. Even the holiest thought, just a thought. Every thought is just a thought. Is there another source of intelligence which becomes fully apparent when you lose this limited one? And you even conceptually have to conclude that there must be another one because there are many intelligent things playing out in this body and in the world which are not controlled by the head, by thoughts. So it is there already. That's also even rationally clear. Even to the intellect it is clear. Now, this intuitive insight, this intuitive intelligence, can we access it? We can access it, but it cannot be driven for personal desire. Otherwise, everybody would like this superpower. But the minute you burden it with some personal idea of personal gain, then you're still actually giving primacy to the false egoic intelligence and not to the intuitive divine insight. So it's not a cheat code for the ego to use. Okay, then you said this is very contradictory and very difficult. Yes, exactly, because you don't have to work at that level at all. And if it is difficult, sometimes it is helpful because you tire of that level. It's difficult like a Zen koan. You tire of your intellect and let it go. Then you say, even though I continue the inquiry, difficult for whom? Good. Who is dealing? Torn apart? Who is feeling torn? I know that this is all just a story, but it feels extremely personal, and that is my experience. You see? Yes, I hope we've unraveled some of that. I am experiencing or suffering this. How can I not say this is not my? How can I not say this is not my experience, even though I know? What do we mean by know? To have a concept of something is to know. What can a concept truly tell us? Like you say, but this is actually my experience, is it? Like I would say it is, you see, but maybe it is 1/100th of your actual experience. I'm not denying that you're experiencing this confusion because of these contradictory thoughts, but does it capture the entirety of your experience? Can you truly say that? And what makes you value one set of experiences over another? See? No, not one moment of perception can be captured in a million concepts. Okay? So when we claim mastery that this set of concepts is totally encapsulating my experience, then is that really true? You can share some of those lights. This is one of them. Yeah, I feel like we captured this. Then you say, yes, even though I know that there is nothing that is controlling anything, still there is a small part they still want to perhaps believe that story. And I try to hold on to that story. Yeah.
You spoke about not trying to use the intelligence to use your personal gratification, right? From the ego. I understand it.
Conceptually.
Conceptually, yeah. But given a situation, last ball 6, you have to get a 6 to win a game, right?
Who has to hit?
The batsman.
Who is the batsman?
Cricket game, an example.
Okay, over example. Okay.
That's the situation for him. That's life for him.
I thought quarter end you've been talking about, so you're using the cricketing metaphor to.
Yeah, I'm just, I don't know, office captain. So, like I'm trying to, when you try to play the game, the two options are there. One, you like to play, right? And you're just getting.
No. But in all of this, the you has to be clear.
I want to differentiate between two aspects of what you said.
I know you want to do that, but I want to differentiate between what you are taking to be you and the reality of you. Okay, let's both play. Both will get away. Okay. Can both get away? Like you will look at what I'm asking, I will look at what you're asking. Or no? No, he's like, no. I only want to play my way. You're saying that in your metaphor, in your narrative, there's a you who has these options, one to enjoy what he's doing, the other to do it grudgingly, whatever the options are. I am saying that there are two options to what that you could be. One is the ego and one is the self.
Yes.
So I'm willing to explore your aspects if you're willing to explore mine. Yes? Okay. Okay. So you want me to stop? Okay. That's right. So what are the two aspects of the batsman?
So one is he has to win the game.
Yeah.
So he's trying to play.
Yeah.
And assuming that the self gratification kind from the ego coming from the ego, he's trying hard to do that. That's an action, the play, the perception, right? Now, the same thing can also be like he loves doing it. It's not a personal thing, and he just wants to play. Like both can be. At the end of the day, the 6 can happen. In one way, it can be a personal thing, and one way it can be not a desire of the ego. It can be just a play. So, end result can be whatever it is. But I don't know. There are two aspects of it, right?
Okay. So two aspects of the
same
level of whether it is coming from a place of love or it's coming from a place of ambition or force or desire or whatever. No? So this depends on what you are, or it has to be concluded that you are this person. Like who is the protagonist of the story?
Like F1, the guy is driving so much
Correct.
in a zone.
Okay, who is driving? Body is driving.
Body. I mean, of course, at this level it is. But to get into a zone,
who is driving? He said, mind doesn't know how to move a finger, and that driving happens really fast.
Yeah.
So who's driving?
So then, self is expressing through that.
Just in his manifest aspect, his consciousness is playing all these roles.
Yes.
Okay. So now.
So when these people are driving,
Oh, Akash, nice one. Good to see you. Yeah. How's renovation is happening that means?
More or less, 15 days is going to.
Oh,
So when drivers try too hard to win, lot of data analytics and try to process it, they lose it. There are people who are always there in the top and they're performing, right? And they
well,
say
not
that-
this year.
So they say that they go to a zone at that speed, they go somewhere. They just difference between them and the car and the track just vanishes.
Yeah.
They go somewhere. And from that space, they just zoom, overtake and just keep just go. So this is an same track, same experience, two different people. One goes in that zone, other one is just trying hard.
Yeah.
But then losing it.
When they're in the zone, or when they're, let's say, open and empty, then are they concerned about any outcome?
No, definitely not. They just want to just be there.
Yeah.
The isness there, They don't really care about the outcome.
Yeah.
But still, they are pushing the pedal and trying to.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. It's happening.
So in this narrative, I'm just trying to understand.
It's happening without the narrative of the me. Like, what is open and empty? What is the zone that sports people talk about? It's the absence of an individual me, or the absence of the need to think about it and then play.
Okay.
So when you straddle it against under a desire, that's why even the so-called best sportsmen, when they straddle it in the narrative that this is World Cup final and I have to win this, many times they don't go into the zone, and they do end up. One time Guruji told me that he enjoys watching football a lot. He said, why do people go to see Messi? I would have, if it wasn't Guruji, I would have argued about Ronaldo versus Messi, but why do people go and see Messi? Because they want a darshan of this. No? They want a darshan of someone who's open and empty. What is the magic of seeing such an expression of consciousness? Because you see the possibility in the human condition to be empty of mental oppression. You see, it's the same for sportsmen, any sort of athletes, any sort of musicians, any sort of, like people say Freddie Mercury. After a while, he's forgetting about what the plan was, what the intention was, just becoming one with the crowd. So people enjoy. They say, "Oh, this one is very good in playback, but not so good in live performance." What is the distinction? So everyone comes to, at some level, for that darshan of something which is beyond the normal human play.
That's what brings us here.
Apparently.
Yes.
So,
Father, when you have a stroke and part of your body paralyzes,
I saw that TED talk.
there is a
Yeah,
TED talk.
Susan Boyle.
Yeah, the brain that changes itself.
Yeah, the one side she had a stroke and then one side stopped functioning. And that became very popular TED talk.
They kind of, your body learns to do the movement and
Yeah, who can say these things?
So when you said that they come for darshan and they come here, why it is? My question, but why it's so easy and obvious in your presence or in his presence, and what changed? You are suppressing your mind. So
Yeah. It's like when you enter, I'm just like,
There's a jammer. Mind jammer.
you my thoughts on it's together with
in a way, yes, in a way, no. Okay, let's go to Clarissa.
Too much.
Hello, Father.
Smooth enlightenment. Hi. Hello.
Hello. Actually, you said everything, and it's just that there was so much fight going on, and I have the feeling that I was fighting all the time, and that I was hardly. It was hardly possible to hear you, but
Yes.
sometimes the feeling was very strong here, and it's like a up and down.
Yes. Yes. One tip I have for you is that the fighting seems relevant only if you have picked a side of the winner. Like you picked one of them has to win. You see? If you have not picked any side, then it doesn't matter what happens in the fight. See? So that in a way, continuing from what the earlier child was asking. So let there be a fight. If you're not bothered with it, you see, then what remains for you? You see? We're using a lot of these sporting metaphors today. So if you do not care about whether it is uh, Hamilton or Leclerc who's winning, you see, then what interest is there in the race?
It's and
What I'm simply saying is what makes the fight interesting?
it's just that such strong feelings are coming and such a pressure, and that I try to get
Yes,
it away.
but that never is a problem. No? Like the appearance of any perception never is a problem. The fight is in the mind. Like this has to stop. Why can't this stop? You see, why is this like this? You see, this kind of thing. Let any perception come, even right now. Let any emotion come. You see? What gets in the way? If you are at no distance from yourself, you see, and the master is at no distance from you, what can come in the way? If you are watching a movie, what can come on the screen that can prevent you from meeting yourself?
Mm.
See? What scene can the filmmaker make that prevents you from meeting yourself while you're watching a movie? It's not possible. And the master's voice is which one? That is always with you.
It's
That's always
it's
with you.
I can hardly follow you. It's
Yeah. So, are you following something else, or is it that you're not understanding the words? Because many times in satsang, you see, these words are just coming and they're not being understood conceptually, but they're doing their job. You don't have to worry about what they're doing. See? Or is it that you're following what your mind is saying?
the mind is so dense. It's like
So
very
don't be concerned with
foggy.
what mind is for a moment. Just don't be concerned with what the mind is. Now, where am I? don't have to fix the mind or change the mind. Or don't have to make it less dense. Just hear this if nothing else, okay? Tell me if you're hearing this part. Are you hearing me now? Yes. Good. So the top floor has noisy neighbors. Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yes.
Now, let's determine what the problem is. First, before we figure out what we need to, whether we are solving it or not, let's determine what the problem is. The problem is not if your attention goes to your mind. The problem is only if you believe what it is saying. And the mind doesn't have the power to make its proposals into belief. It says, it may say it does. The mind itself may say belief is going automatically. I can't help it because little old me, I don't have the power. But you are consciousness, you are God. See? So you can never be powerless in front of the mind.
Can you differentiate an example of this giving attention and
Yes, we talked about it. Like, don't think of an orange. Orange will come. The famous one is pink elephant, but don't think of an orange. Then don't believe you're an orange. Two different things. Orange, it can be in our attention, but I don't have to take it to be myself.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Satyam.
Hello, Ananta-ji.
Hello, my dear.
Can you hear me? My voice?
Yes. I can hear you clearly.
Yes.
How is your mother's health now?
My mother's health is very stable now, Ananta-ji.
Very good. Right.
It's really a miracle, and everything. The last time I spoke to you was in the hospital.
Yes, I remember. Yes.
And you said forget all about this looking, and it worked so beautifully that I got so involved in taking care of her. It's almost like there was a sense of no one doing anything. It was so total.
Very good.
There was I always have tears to speak with you because 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 your words, they are not just words for me. They become living thing when you say. It's not that I have to remember them. It confirms every moment. So so everything went so smoothly, even lots of fears and everything, but it was all everything. There was even my stuff coming out, even that was even there was no resistance to even that it should not arise and all that. And yet there was this sense of being whatever you want to call it, and especially today when you said this awareness of even being, and this awareness is not even in the present as I sense it. It's not even present. This is when Mujiji talked to me, those words have stayed, because it's not like as a memory, but his words were like, there was no past, future, and even present is just a concept.
Yeah.
So those words confirmed, and you confirm it every time. So her body condition is very stable, and taking care is happening really through this form. And cooking, I cook every day. I enjoy and all this, the daily life. It's happening.
Very.
Just have to really thank you so much for for your divine presence, for these reminders. They are really this gratitude has no end.
Thank you so much. All my love to all of you.
I just wanted to say hello and at your feet.
Thank you so much. All my love.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let's go to Aniko.
Hi, Ananta-ji.
Hello, my love.
Thank you. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Thank you. I just came up because I feel I'm a bit tired with this game of in and out, and I don't know. Guruji said honor your seeing, and I try.
Yeah. Honor it without trying. To try is not to honor it. Where can you try? Okay, let's look at this. Let's start with this. It's a good idea. So, honor your seeing. Now, where can you try?
I don't know. I just do the practices. Anantaji, this panic attack is coming every night. And I do everything. I inquire, I surrender, I pray. I do whatever, vipassana, mantras, everything. And this person is so much me in that time. So it is not, I am not the air, I'm not the space, I am this one living something inside here, and so tight. And
whatever your condition may be, or whatever our mind's idea of our condition may be, the best gift you can give yourself is to meet yourself as the highest at this very moment.
yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Very good. So now, are you aware now?
Yeah, of course. There is an awareness, but it's not, I don't know who is.
I heard the of course. Okay. Now, if it is of course, then they can't be the but.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why I'm so sorry for myself.
For the first time, I will change the question because I feel like you can meet it. Are you awareness now?
I don't know. Excuse me?
Are you awareness now?
I don't know.
How come you're laughing?
don't know.
What's the difference between the two questions? Are you aware now and are you awareness now?
Is it the same?
You tell me.
Yeah, yeah. It must be the same.
It's the same. So are you awareness now?
Now, yes.
Yes, but
I can't decide to cry or laugh.
but what are you now? Are you awareness now? You know,
The
this
mind.
this phrase, are you aware now? This question came up in satsang here maybe 9 years ago, very, very early. And it was one of those phrases I felt like, if I just ask this, there's no chance for the ego. You know, there's just no chance. It's just going to become so apparent. Are you aware now? Now, when I'm asking, are you awareness now? I'm wondering why I never said this before. I feel like that's it. Let's get serious.
Still the mind is dropping questions, and
So,
I can.
whose job is it to
Excuse me.
listen to the mind? Whose job is it to listen to your mind?
Whose job is to listen to my mind?
Yes, whose job? How
It's
much you
not
get paid?
It's just happening
It
automatically.
is happening. The belief in the mind is just happening.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Really, it is
And
just
who's concerned about it?
no control of it.
And
Actually,
who's
no.
concerned about it?
Excuse me. But
Who's concerned or suffering?
yeah, me.
Are you awareness?
So why is not so easy at the night?
Huh?
Ananta-ji is not
Night
working
is
at the,
not working. For
at the
awareness.
night.
For who it's not working? Who is this supposed to help? The Satsang is the place where the one who needs help is shown the door.
Excuse me, Ananta-ji.
Satsang is the place where the one who needs help is shown the door. So who is the one that needs help? A very mean thing to say. Who needs help? Who is it not working for?
Yeah.
Who is?
I don't know. Who is?
Who is it that needs help?
It's just a memory now.
When we say, yes, I am aware now, we are actually confirming that I am awareness now. In fact, the now part, if it isn't in time, it is irrelevant. Who should we help? Who needs fixing? Exactly. What can hurt awareness?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ananta-ji.
Yeah, thank you. And you can play some of the recordings, no? We have so many recordings now which always start like this. They always start crying, always end up laughing. So we must have many of these recordings now. You can play them in the night also.
I will.
It never occurred to you like that. Very good.
Thank you.
Your mind or your ego is not as heavy as you think it is. See, that's why it's so easy in satsang. Just takes a minute, gone.
Thank you so much. I love you.
Love you too. Let's go to Warjo and Laurence. What are you doing together? Huh? So,
Hello. Yes.
Can you hear us, Ananta?
yes. Both of you are in France or where are you?
In Spain. I'm
Spain.
at yeah, homeless now. This one is homeless now.
Okay, but it looked like a nice home.
No, true. Homeless and headless.
Yeah.
There's
The headless are never homeless.
no. No, it was making fun.
Yeah. So am I. So.
Now, Laurence packed up her house and has all the boxes in her car, and she's on her way to Monte Sahaja. And she will stop over here at our place. And we are together watching the satsang.
So good. So
Yes.
so good.
It's been a form. I'm going to São Martinho, not really knowing what, but it's been a 4 months process full satsang. Really amazing. And yeah. The funny thing is, last week I couldn't be in satsang, and you put this video, you know, and I didn't have time to listen, so but I could see everybody laughing, and then it's the video when, you know, stop it!
Put this video in Satsang? No, not in the broadcast one. When we met just here in Bangalore.
Ah, it was in Bangalore. It was not in satsang.
We put in the WhatsApp group also. Yes, yes.
Ah, that's it. That's it. And the funny thing is that it talks about boxes, and this house was full of boxes, and so apparent that yeah, so much bigger than this. So all these boxes, and yeah, I wanted. There's this. Sorry, because this one is taking very seriously, not to take oneself seriously. Okay.
Good. That's good. That's good.
There is this song that came, you know, when you keep saying headless.
Yeah.
I'd like to sing you this little song. It's really.
I would love to hear it.
Yeah. It's.
But I'm going to mute so that everyone hears properly.
Oh God, no! It's headless. Yes, we can be all headless. Just focus on your nose. Be nosy, says Ananta-Part. Headless. We can all be so headless. Just focus on your nose. Be nosy, says Ananta-Part. Do you know this song? The song it comes from?
Yeah.
It's heartless, actually. So of course it had to become headless.
Over the weekend, no? Weekend.
Weekend?
Is it the weekend? No.
Who is the? I don't know the name of the group singing that, but the words are heartless. Heartless. How can you be so heartless? And it
Weekend. The same one who has I can't feel my face when I'm with you. That one. Same one. No, maybe not.
Kanye West.
Oh, Kanye. Okay. Old one. Yeah.
I don't even know who it is by. Anyhow.
The funny thing is that I keep saying be headless and be with your nose, but your nose is also on your head only.
Yes, that's why it's so funny. And to be nosy, actually, to be nosy is to stick one's nose into something and to look too deep into it. So it's so funny. But it's
Not a good metaphor.
Anyhow. And so you're gonna drive this car, right? This car is very full. It's gonna drive a long way, so you drive it?
I'm driving.
Perfect. So great. Lovely.
When do you go to Sahaja?
No, I'm not going to Sahaja. I'm going in Sao Martino next to Sahaja, but I'm going. I'm leaving tomorrow actually, and it's going to be a 2 days drive. So yeah, it's full adventure. There's so many things can come up, like fears trying, or just thought trying to bring you outside of present. Just so it's.
You reach out in 2 days or not?
I'll meet in a week.
In a week, Madalena will meet you there. She's also on the way there to the village.
Oh, is she? Ah.
I mean, yeah, so I'm driving a bit slower.
She's taking a bit longer to drive from here to there, but yeah.
Driving? No, she's not driving.
I can imagine her driving from here, Bangalore to Monte Sahaja. And with the kids at the back, are we there yet? Are we there? It's very much like satsang, no? Are we there yet?
Laurence, it took me also 4 months to make this move. And there was a bit of, there was lots of fear when I took this decision. So I had to cancel it for a bit and then I weak.
Amazing. She also took 4 months.
No, but it was true satsang in this true satsang in the sense that it's truly like there was this attachment to matter, all this and fears and things from so many.
That's the mind's mantra, no? Matter does matter.
What did you say?
A terrible joke. I'm not laughing at it. But the mind's mantra is matter does matter.
Yeah. No, but it's very interesting. It was every moment. It was an opportunity to see if there was someone doing, or if whenever it became to at some point it was very very intense and lots of and so many opportunities to just I don't know, yeah. Whenever dragged into to just step back and there has been so many tears are gonna come when mentioning this because truly so many amazing ways in which consciousness brings exactly what is needed, and even if it's not seen, then 2 hours later, of course, and thank you, and it's so wow. And also satsang with body, because body was absolutely exhausted, truly, even to a point where a massive pain came. And it's interesting when you say because full sensations, there are moments where sensations are just too much. It's just and this one never takes painkillers, but at some point it was there was sleeping was not possible, and it was as far as this is concerned, there is still maybe the hope that at some point it's not, there was no story about the thing, but it was just unbearable. So decision had to be made to call doctor and then to take painkillers, and but it's just when it's like it's not my body, it's just consciousness like taking care of life in the form of this well, okay. Anyhow,
I'm so glad to hear that.
what?
I'm so glad to hear that you'll be so close with Guruji so soon.
Yes. Full blessing. Love you, Anantaji. Hope to be close to you physically one day also. Well, thank you.
Go safe. Live safe.
I want to say anything.
Goodbye again. Namaste.
Namaste. Yeah, I had I put my hand quite a while ago, but there's still something. It's just I just wanted to take the opportunity to just to share the an echo I had with all over this satsang about taking yeah, because I'm again seeing how much the belief is everywhere. Everywhere is belief. We are bathing in belief, and I always loved, always again and again. I have this metaphor of this image of us looking of me and and most of us walking around, not looking at the landscape, but looking at the map, and hurting, and but then we say, okay, I doesn't work. So we fold the map and we look, but then we discover this is also a map because it is here. So this image, this ongoing process of being not noticing that we are believing we are bathing in a world of concepts. Yes. And it is so. I mean, I love to. I've been confronting this image all along this satsang. You know, it was confronting itself. You know, because whatever we try to grasp, with the map, with the inner map, and so we always, and the fear is always there because we are caught in pure ideas, and the fear cannot not be there because it is pure idea. So we can. There is no way out of this conceptual world. The only way is the way you show us. Don't believe your next thought. don't believe yourself even. And I was also looking at the fact that on my own experience, how I tend to get hold. Okay, I let go of ideas, but then I go into sensations, and it is exactly the same. It's just because sensations and material experiencing or bodily experiencing or sensual experiencing or whatever seems to be suddenly to be so real because it is so innocent, so direct, and it is not, because we are bathing again in the known. And then when I eat or whatever, I compensate or you know, it is just grasping again something, just getting hold of something. So I always contemplating how the real is ungraspable, and we don't want to believe it. We don't want to. We resist it, and it comes. Yeah, you said it in somehow just before. The mind says what matters is matter. Or what do you? Yeah.
Yes.
So
what did we say?
Yeah, it was not like this. Yeah. matters or something like that. Yeah. So taking hold of something, what matters is grasping. What matters is grasping. What matters is grasping. You don't grasp, you're nothing. You're nothing.
Yeah.
And so that's all. I mean, I just it becomes always a bit. I also see how flexible we are when we see this, because this is everywhere, and when we don't see it, we have problems, and we cannot follow you. You have to show us again and again, and when we can see that, we can follow you easier, because it is the synopsis of the whole game somehow. Yeah, and that's it.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and thank you so much, because this is made easier to grasp because of the just because we see we are awareness because we see you are aware. So you cannot convince us. You can just prove it to us because we see it in front of us. So thank you so much, so much.
Thank you so much. Well done. Okay, last one, Devdas.
Namaskar, Guruji. Can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Thank you. This one is sometimes afraid, sometimes clear, sometimes think that he knows, sometimes he doesn't know. A lot of things confused, but this is all going on. But anyway, because there are several times that I felt maybe I should show up myself as the others, as there are some regular ones, and
there are some.
But
repeat
there are some
there
are some regular ones who are
yes.
regular ones, yes. But and also there was a lot of confusion sometimes, and afterwards it was clarified, and again that the whole thing is everything is going on. Something is watching the whole thing, and also sometimes I'm not identifying with one of or the other. And when I am clear and it's very light and everything is okay, and but because of this kind of fear sometimes arises, I would like to show up and I would like to expose everything, and also this one who sometimes it's very clear about the whole thing. And even this Satsang, I was like, my goodness, I don't know anything at all, and all the others are really much. But and also because this one is a little bit things that I don't know, maybe holds on to this kind of belief and idea that whatever in the Ribhu Gita says, it's really one of the highest, because somehow you introduced me to the Ribhu Gita. And in the beginning, in the first satsangs, maybe even half a year, I was really messed up. I felt that I will not follow you at all, because it was like fight always. And it was like, I was really so confused. I was like, I was lost everything. I don't know, anyway. But sometimes, anyway, after that, I feel that whenever I am listening, because I found by grace Papaji's reading the Ribhu Gita, and I'm listening. When I'm listening, it's like everything is cleared out. Everything is, the whole thing is. It's always everything is Brahman, and it's showing me that whatever I'm thinking and whatever conclusion I am having, it's nothing. The whole thing is nothing, and everything is the play of Brahman, and everyone, and always, not only everyone but everything. And but the whole thing I have to expose that I was starting also because it is. Ribhu says that it's good. There are two kind of mantras that is good to do that. I am Brahman, and but I wasn't sure at the beginning, but it's good. But afterwards, I read Adi Shankara's he says that it's better to kind of, I don't know how it says, but it's like repeat or kind of have this kind of conviction that I am only Brahman. I'm only and the other one, which is also, I feel that this is the, Ribhu says that this is the best kind of mantra, that everything is the highest being, which is consciousness, Satchidananda, and I am that.
Yeah.
And I feel that always nowadays when I am going out and I feel that my mind is kind of trying to wander or trying to judge or anything, I said I kind of everything is the consciousness, everything is Brahman, or sometimes even saying that everything is the supreme Shiva and Devi. And it's more kind of harmonizing that even Devi is, because my mind is like sometimes with the female body is like attracted a little bit to kind of bringing me a little bit to say, I'm really feeling that it has a power on me. And it's really interesting because I didn't know I will have the ability to speak anything, but but I see that it's coming out a lot of things.
Very well.
And I think this is the main thing that I wanted to share. But also, I'm so happy that I am. Yesterday evening, I was like jumping in the bed because I found out that the last video of Guruji in the Sahaja Express is about Ribhu Gita. And I was like really overwhelmed by that, what a grace that I am kind of caught by the Ribhu Gita. And
Yes.
Guruji says that after reading the older Gitas, I found that this is the one that this is the one that it's felt here the most I don't know, I cannot interpret the exact words, but it was like it is maybe the highest and maybe the one thing that is the saying that this is the and I was like, what a blessing that this stays with me. And but everything comes from you, so and anyway, sometimes I was really very proud that maybe I can understand the whole thing. But always Papaji and also Papaji with this reading also always puts me in the right track, and it's whatever I think that I know, it's also nothing is only Brahman. And somehow like this. So and I'm very happy and very grateful. And also I would like to expose that I'm a little bit, I don't know, I don't feel to follow, although I'm in the part of the listening circle, and sometimes I was involved, but I feel a little bit, maybe a little bit too noisy, but, and also sometimes I was really arrogant. I was really arrogant sometimes. My mind was like, oh, maybe it's too much. But another times I was feeling that, oh my goodness, they are full love. All. So, but everything was passing. So it's like, now I was talking about past. Whatever is here, it's you.
Full love, full blessing.
I would like to ask you if you see anything, whatever you would like to chop or anyway, please do it.
You're in Ribhu's and Ribhu is doing good job. Just follow your heart, follow your heart. So,
thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Let's play some bhajan. Might we want to sing some more? Apnika wants to sing.
मैं हूँ सफर भी, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं हूँ मंजिल, मैं हूँ सफर भी, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं हूँ दृष्टि, मैं हूँ सृष्टि, मैं दर्शक जानूं, मैं दर्शक जानूं, मंजिल, मैं हूँ सफर भी, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं हूँ राधा, मैं हूँ यशोदा, मैं ही कृष्ण कन्हैया, मैं हूँ भगत, मैं हूँ भगवन, मुझ में ही सारा, मुझ में ही सारा, मैं हूँ मंजिल, मैं हूँ सफर भी, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मंदिर में हूँ, मूरत भी हूँ, मैं ही स्वयं पुजारी, रूप भी हूँ, रूप भी हूँ, मालिका मैं अधिकारी, मालिका मैं अधिकारी, हूँ मंजिल, मैं हूँ सफर भी, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ, मैं ही मुसाफिर हूँ।
Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Moji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Keval.